this is my opinion.
This is my opinion.
Translation. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of Godhead. This is my opinion. There's no proof. Kamaksharam paramam veditavyam kamasya vishvasya param nidanam kamavyaya shashvata dharma gupta sanatanistam purusham nato me. You are the supreme primal objective. You are the ultimate resting place of all this universe. You are inexhaustible, and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of the eternal religion, the personality of God. This is my opinion. Although there is no purport, still there are plenty of things to be said about this verse. Therefore, we'll say a few. First of all, for those of you who don't know, this is the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. In this 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, the speaker of Bhagavad Gita, is now displaying his universal form to Arjuna. Arjuna is the friend of Krishna, and they are both standing in the middle of the battlefield of Kurukshetra. Now you may ask, why is Krishna showing his universal form? And that's a good question. And the good answer is that he's doing it because, first of all, Arjuna asked him to. Arjuna said, can you please show me that all-pervading universal form of your Lordship, Virata Rupa, which is so ferocious and frightening, that which will demonstrate your supremacy throughout all these worlds. So Krishna said, certainly. So he showed his universal form. This is what Arjuna is now discussing. And further, this would finish off all future mental speculators who would proclaim themselves to be the Supreme. It's like if somebody comes and he says, I am God. There are plenty of people nowadays who do that. Just a little bit before, there were more than today. Just some, maybe 18 years ago, there were shipments of God every day from India. There was another God landing on the shores of the Western countries. Nowadays, there's not so many gods because nobody cares about them anymore. But people would come and say, I am God. And then others would say, oh, we've heard you. But there are, of course, symptoms of what is God. One of them is that you have extraordinary and unlimited power. And that you have the ability to appear or disappear, come and go as you like. You're not bound to this material world because your body is transcendental. These are some of the symptoms of God. What to speak of the fact that he is predicted in the Vedic literatures as to exactly when he would appear. Just like Krishna. He appeared exactly right on time. He was to appear on the 7th Manu, that's the Manu of Vaivasvata, on the 28th round of Yuga cycles. And that's exactly when he appeared. Exactly at that time. On the 7th Manu, at the 28th round of Yuga cycles. The only thing was that his associates didn't understand that. They didn't know that this Krishna, who was their friend, who was their associate, he is that Supreme Personality of God. Although some, like Garga Muni, the family priest, had mentioned it to the Nanda and Mother Yashoda, the so-called parents of Krishna. But they didn't pick up on the fact that this was God. Because they had a different relationship with Krishna, as friend or parents. So they weren't really understanding him as God. So Arjuna also did not. But when Krishna showed, he was the Supreme. And he demonstrated it in various ways. Arjuna wanted the ultimate test. Because ultimately, if somebody says he's God, then you can say to him, can you show me please your universal form? Now, showing universal form, not so easy to do. But then, of course, these rascals, they say, I could show you, but you don't have the eyes to see it. Therefore, I cannot. But, just to make sure that argument could not be used, Krishna says to Arjuna, you can't see this form, but I will give you transcendental eyes so that you can see. So then the next comment to such a person who says, you don't have the eyes to see, so I can't show you, would be, well, then give me the eyes to see if you are God. If you are God, you have unlimited power. So you can give me the eyes to see, and then I will see your universal form. No problem. At that point, such rascals usually say, anyway, something. But, in fact, if you want the eyes to see the Supreme, you can get them only when that Supreme gives you those eyes. When he gives you the eyes to see him, then you can see him. Otherwise, you cannot see him. And Krishna gave those transcendental eyes to Arjuna, and Arjuna used those transcendental eyes and saw the form of the Supreme Personality of God, the universal form. That form which is expanded throughout the whole of existence, the whole creation. That is that universal form of the Lord. Now that we understand what is going on here. So after Arjuna had seen this wonderful universal form, he was very afraid. In fact, he was extremely frightened because his form is very ferocious. Part of his form was one of the heads of his universal form was chewing all of the soldiers on both sides of the battlefield in its teeth. It was a horrible sight because actually this is the form of Kala, or time. Time, the all-devouring power of this world. Time finishes off everything. Here we have many nice young people in this room. Don't worry, pretty soon you're going to become old, and then you'll be dead. Maybe even before you get old, you'll be dead. Because time factor comes and makes it happen. Forces us, pushes us, more and more pushes us. Time factor. And the time factor was killing all of these men on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. By karma, by time. Karma means the result. But time says when it will happen. The function of karma is this time that causes at certain points the karma to occur in just the right time. So now all these men have been assembled on this big battlefield, and it was their karma to all die. Everyone, except for 7. They would survive. But the rest would all be finished. And this was time. Therefore Krishna said, Kalosmi, time I am, and Mrityu Sarvaharashchaham. I am the death of everyone. Krishna says he is time. He also says, I am the cause of everyone's death. And certainly as time, you can certainly cause a lot of deaths. So Arjuna was seeing this factor. And he was very frightened, standing before this enormous, powerful form which was just causing the death and destruction of so many living entities. He was just crushed between his teeth. And he was also seeing the other aspects of this universal form, and he was very respectful. He offered so many prayers to this universal form of the Supreme. Now, this is one of the prayers. He said, you are infallible, aksharam. There's kshara and akshara. 2 ways you can understand this. The fallible and the infallible. Akshara refers to the infallible. Kshara refers to the fallible. That which is fallible is like us, the living entities. Fallible means you make mistakes. Infallible means you don't make mistakes. We, unfortunately, do not see everything very clearly, and therefore we make mistakes. Therefore we are called Akshara. But Krishna is Akshara. He is not captivated by any material energy, because that energy comes from him alone. He is forever above the platform of making mistakes, because he doesn't make any mistakes. Everything he does is perfect. Therefore, he's called Akshara. He never does anything wrong. Everything is exactly perfect. And even if one may think such a thing would not be exactly perfect, but just simply by him doing it, it becomes the standard for all others. But Krishna is incapable of doing something which is not exactly perfect. Anyway, whatever he does, that is the perfection. That's what it means when you're the absolute truth. You're absolutely powerful. Whatever you do, that's perfect. In the material world, there used to be like a reflection of that. It's like if the king, in former times, there were kings, of course. So if the king, let's say, for instance, was drinking a glass of water, and the water slipped out of his hand because it was slippery, and crashed to the ground. Well, then the standard from then on would be that you drink water and drop the glass and crash. Just so you don't get in trouble with the king. So there's a very perverted reflection of the fact that whatever Krishna does is perfect, but he doesn't drop glasses. That wasn't the point. The point was that the standards he sets are the standards which are followed by everybody everywhere. Now, there's also here, paramam vetavya. Param, or paramam, refer to the supreme. Now, param refers to the higher. The paramam refers to the topmost, highest of all. And veditavyam, as you know, viditva means to know. Vedi is the verb, the root in Sanskrit. It's like Veda means knowledge. Vedi means to know. And this veditavyam means that which is to be known, or the supreme element to be understood by all persons. Or put it another way, as Prabhupada has very perfectly given in this translation, you are the supreme primal objective. In other words, when you have come to the point of knowing, or when you have come to the point of understanding what you are to know, then you will come to the point of understanding that you are to know Krishna. Because he is what is to be known. He is knowledge himself. He is pure knowledge, jnana. Because he is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Chit means knowledge. And he is the object of knowledge. And of all knowledge, it is he who is to be known. Vedais chasavaya ahameva veja. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, by all of the Vedic literatures am I to be known. In other words, when you go through all the Vedas, you will come to Krishna, and then you will know him by going through all of the Vedas. Of course, it is not that you will know him perfect realization simply by going through the Vedas, because Vedeshur Durlabham, it's very difficult to understand him that way. But Adurlabham, Atma Bhakto, for a devotee of the Supreme, one who's devoted in bhakti, this process of Krishna consciousness is bhakti. For him, it is not difficult to know Krishna. In any case, whether it's difficult or not, we were discussing Paramam Veditavya. And it is a fact that Krishna is the primal objective. Primal. Primary, original, the ancient and non-changeable objective. That Supreme Personality. You understand all these words, those of you who are listening in English? If not, we give some more headphones. You can every now and then. I just realized when I'm talking, maybe some of the words are strange. No? Okay. Now, sometimes the philosophy gets a little heavy. So anyway. Now, here's another one. Tvamasya vishvasya param nidhanam. A very specific sentence. That you are nidhanam. Nidhanam means the basis. You are the basis of this universe. Vishvasya. Vishvas. Vishvas refers to the whole creation. It's also we spoke this Vishvarupa, Vishva, the same word, referred to the universal form. This universal form is Vishvarupa, which has been discussed here in this 11th chapter. So, Vishvasya Nidhanam. Of this universe, you are its basis. Now, this word Nidhanam has also been used by Queen Kunti in the second chapter, second volume of the Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, in her prayers to Krishna. She says, Anadi Nidhanam Vabhum. Tasmat Tvam Kalam Isharam Anadi Nidhanam Vabhum. She said, I consider Tasmat Tvam, you, Kalam, the supreme time factor. You are the supreme time factor. And as the supreme time factor, you are controlling everything. Because by time, as we said, everything is taking place. Activities are started, activities are finished. Things are going on, all because of time. Therefore, he who controls time controls everything. Therefore, she says, Tasmat Tvam Kalam Ishanam. I consider you to be the eternal time, and therefore you are the supreme controller, Ishanam. Because he who controls time controls everything, because time controls everything. By time, everything takes place. By time you are born, by time you die, by time you grow old, by time you get results of your activities, everything happens by time. And it is this time factor which makes things seem either good or bad or something. And Anadi, you are beginning less. You have no beginning. Although you are time, you did not start at time in any time. There was no time when you were not. Krishna said in the Bhagavad Gita that there was never a time that I did not exist, nor you, nor all these kings, nor in the future shall any of us cease to be. But Krishna as the supreme time factor is certainly eternal, beyond the time factor. He is that supreme personality of Godhead. So, being original and beyond time, being the supreme controller, he's also Nidhanam, Vabhum. Vabhum means the great one, but who's also the basis of everything, Nidhanam. You are the resting place of everything. Arjuna also says, Param Brahma Param Dhamma Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. You are the supreme abode, the supreme resting place, the supreme purifier. And again, here it is stated, Vishwasya Param Mudinam. You are the supreme basis of this universe, or the whole creation, Vishwasya. This means of the whole manifestation, Krishna is its basis. Krishna, the basis. That's a very important point. How he is the basis of existence. Basis means the basic element, the basic thing which holds the whole show together. Krishna even says he's the basis of Brahman. Brahmanoham Gatishta. That I am the basis of the impersonal Brahman. It is all resting on Krishna. Everything's resting on Krishna. As pearls are strung on a thread. No, how does it start? Anyway, I forgot it in Sanskrit just now how that verse starts. But Krishna says, just like here we have neck beads on the neck. So, you cannot see there's a string inside. Because the person who strung them put sufficient beads. You cannot see there's a string. But you know there's a string. Everybody knows beads don't just stick together like this. They're not mystically stuck together. There's a string inside. That string supports the beads, but from the background. You don't see it as the support, but it's there. Similarly, Krishna supports this whole creation, but you can't see him doing it because he's within it. It's called Otam Protam. He's crisscrossing this whole manifestation horizontally and vertically, like a net, just like in cloth. In cloth, you find the weave is going this way and this way. That holds it together. So Krishna is holding together the whole creation, like this cloth is held together, horizontally and vertically. Krishna is holding together the whole manifestation. And just like there are things which get stuck on this cloth, just like some little, I don't know if you can see that far, but there's little thingies here and there. And sometimes a little piece of black cloth gets sewn in also. No examples of that here. Anyway. So similarly, Krishna holds up the whole creation. Everything is just sitting on him, resting on him. But you cannot see it. You cannot see Krishna is resting, that everything's resting on Krishna. Why? Because he's hidden. He's the hidden controller. He's behind the manifestation. He's not displaying himself. Why not? Well, it's very obvious why not. We come to this material world because we wanted to forget Krishna. So why should he manifest? We wanted to forget him. So why he should manifest here? We don't want to see him. So he doesn't want to be seen. He hides behind this manifestation under a veil of illusory energy, Maya. The curtain has dropped, like the backdrop in a theater. And Krishna is behind it, making everything happen. Another example is like in the puppet shows. You have marionettes, right? And the puppeteer is controlling the movements of the puppets, making the arms go up and down, and the legs and the hands are moving slightly, in the mouth. He's making it all happen. You cannot see, but he's up above. You cannot see, just see the puppet. I think it is a nice show. But any intelligent person knows these dolls don't walk around by themselves. There's somebody up there with strings. Similarly, Krishna is controlling the whole manifestation like that. An intelligent person will know he's doing it from there. An intelligent person will understand there is some supreme controller behind that show. Although it's covered by a veil of illusion, still one understands these things don't go on by themselves. There must be somebody there making it happen. Similarly, the whole cosmic manifestation is like that. And there's somebody there making it happen, and that somebody's Krishna. And in fact, Krishna doesn't even do it himself directly. His energies do all of this. His energies do everything. Those energies, three modes of material nature, Shibir Gunamaya, Bhavaya, everything is going on under the influence of those modes of nature. Everybody's under the control of those modes of nature. Everything is under the control. But Krishna, Maya Dakshena Prakriti Suyate Satcharacharam, is the controller of those modes of material nature. That is Krishna's position. He's the controller of the controllers. Therefore, Lord Brahma said, Ishvara Parama Krishna Satchidananda Vigraha Anadiradya Govinda Sarvakarna Karana. Ishvara Parama Krishna. Krishna is Ishvara Parama, the supreme controller of all controllers. Now everybody in this room may be an Ishvara to a certain extent. Not a big Ishvara, but a teeny little Ishvara. We can control something, just like we can control our car or our bicycle.
Okay.
We can control our alarm clock sometimes. We can control to a certain extent our telephone, where it's calling. So we can control something. Not much. Even we're a big man, I can control some industry and some factory and all of that. Still, this is not very big control. It's little control compared to the control of directors of planets, universal directors like Lord Brahma, who can create, or Lord Shiva, who destroy the whole universe. After all, we're just peanuts compared to them. So, the Supreme, Krishna, he's the controller of all those big controllers and us little tiny ones too. Ishvara Parama. He may not control us directly, but he'll control those who control us directly. And that's how he controls this whole cosmic manifestation. So, he is that ultimate basis upon which the whole material universe rests. Krishna, Nidanam, Vishvasya, Paramam, Nidanam, very special. Param. Now, next sentence. Tam avyaya shashrata dharma kokta. Tam, you, avyaya. Avyaya, we just discussed this word this morning. All these connections here between Bhagavatam, Gita, all these different verses from all different chapters. Somehow the whole thing's connected. Because it's all about Krishna. Because it's all about Krishna, it's all connected. In any case, again, for the sake of those who weren't there this morning, avyaya means inexhaustible. You can't come to the end of the opulences of Krishna. For us, you can get to the end of our opulences real fast. Just like, some of us, we can talk a little bit, but if we go on talking for a little bit longer, we run out of things to say. But the Supreme has unlimited knowledge, never running out of things to discuss or give knowledge. Opulence, money. If you wanted to ask me for some money, After a short time, I would run out. Maybe 3 minutes. We have no money. We depend on everybody else. So our opulence of wealth is very, very limited. Extremely limited. We have no opulences of wealth. Somebody else may have a lot of opulence. Maybe some millionaire or something like that. But still, after a short time, he runs out of these opulences too. Because who has so much money that he can just unlimitedly spend all the time? But Krishna has unlimited opulences. You cannot, at a moment in time, ever exhaust his opulences. He can go on and on and on. Everything can just keep manifesting, emanating from him forever. You'll never get to the end of all this. Because he's the unlimited, opulent one. No limit. You can't get to the bottom of Krishna's opulence. And strength, for Krishna, he's so strong that this whole universe is just like a nothing. For us, to lift up 100 kilos is sufficient to crush us to pieces. For Krishna, 100 universes is nothing. And there's no limit to his strength. Knowledge, all the Vedic literatures are emanating from him. And just for instance, Ananta Shesha, which is an expansion of Krishna, to support Krishna, has been chanting the glories of the Lord since time immemorial with 1,000 hoods. He said, basis of Krishna, 1,000 hooded snake. And each one of the 1,000 hoods is chanting a different glory of Krishna. And he has never repeated himself twice. And he still hasn't run out of things to say. That is unlimited knowledge demonstrated. And as far as fame, Krishna is known all over this world. Maybe by different names, but everybody knows about God. Even the demons who say he doesn't exist. They're always busy saying there is no God. But they know about him. That's why they have to say he's not there. Because if he wasn't there, they wouldn't have to say he's not. The very fact that they say he's not there, it says he is there. Otherwise, if he wasn't there, no one would have to say he's not there, because then he doesn't exist. There's no question of saying, then he would say he doesn't exist, but they say no, there's no God there. He's not there. There's no Krishna. Anyway, that's a joke. But besides this, in other universes also they know about Krishna. Everybody everywhere knows about the Supreme. In all universes, at all places, at all times, in all circumstances, everybody knows about the Supreme Personality of God. And there are millions and billions of universes, and each and every one of them, they know about him because he appears in every one of those universes, one after another, and gives them the chance to see his pastimes, and he speaks Bhagavad Gita too. So that's Krishna. So he's inexhaustible, avyaya. You can't get to the bottom of his potency. He has unlimited potency to do whatever he wants, whenever he wants. That is the Supreme. And Shasvata Dharma Gopta. Shasvata Dharma Gopta means that Krishna is the maintainer of all these spiritual principles. Sometimes you will find that these spiritual principles diminish. This happens occasionally due to the fact that time factor is there. People forget. People forget so many things. We made an experiment in Vienna. I told everybody about this last night. That everyone should wake up in the morning and remember how small they are. Right? So how many of you remembered that when you woke up? You did! Look at that! Amazing. And what about the rest of you? You forgot it completely. So, by accident you remember. So, Krishna helps you to see the book good today. Now, we forget everything. we're so forgetful. Because we're just so small like that. So we're in the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is a bad time. Really bad. In this Yuga, there's quarrel, dissension, disturbance, anxiety, cheating, lying, stealing, killing, hating, envying. Ooh, it's bad. Bad, bad, bad. That's Kali Yuga. And in Kali Yuga, everybody forgets everything. Therefore, Srila Vyasadeva wrote down the Vedic literatures just for all those persons, us, who forget everything. So that we won't forget. Because what is written down, we don't forget. It's like I was telling our president in Austria, you please write down everything so that you don't forget. So he writes down everything, but then he forgot to look at the paper. So he forgot everything. So this is called Kali Yuga. Even you write down the whole Vedic literature, at the end people don't read it. They forget it anyway. But the point is that Krishna comes and establishes that, again, knowledge, Vedic literature, so that people don't forget. Because everybody's forgetting everything all the time. Therefore he appears, just like he appeared 500 years ago as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, just for the sake of those who are forgetting everything. Lord Chaitanya appeared just so that those who forgot everything would remember. He brought the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. Just like also Prabhupada, when he came once to London, the reporters asked him, Swamiji, what are you doing here? And he said, I have come to teach you that which you have forgotten. So this word was there. To be taught again what we have forgotten. This is the mission. Either the Supreme Lord Krishna comes and does that, or his representatives come and do it. So formerly Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared 500 years ago to chant and dance and deliver love of Godhead. Then just recently Srila Prabhupada came to do the same thing and to teach us that which we have forgotten, our natural relationship with Krishna. Krishna is also the oldest, of course, because being eternal, Sanatana, he's the oldest. He's the original. Although we are part and parcel of him, he's the origin of all. How that is difficult to understand, but we are all emanating from Krishna, but that does not mean creation. It's like the sun's ray is not created when it emanates from the sun. It simply manifests. It is already there. It is manifested. But we are all this coming from Krishna, as the rays of the sun come from the sun. But he's the original and the oldest. He's the maintainer of all spiritual principles, because he's the one that gives them to us. All the Vedic literatures. He gives us these. He comes and speaks this knowledge directly. Or he inspires Lord Brahma within the heart. Tene Brahma Hridaya Adikavaye. In this verse, Adikavi refers to Lord Brahma, and Brahma refers to the Vedic knowledge. The Brahma and Brahma. Brahma is the Vedic knowledge. Shabda Brahma. Shabda Brahma. Shabda Brahma means transcendental sound vibration. Shabda means sound. Indeed. Vedanta Sutra, it ends on Vritti Shabda and Vritti Shabda. Twice it is stated. Just to make the point. Just to make it clear. By sound vibration alone, one will be liberated. And what is that sound vibration? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,